last left you on our journey, we were leaving Loreto because a cruise ship was coming. Then we were heading to San Juanico.
Spot right here. Wind is straight out of the north. This is the swell. So nothing's firing. Nobody's here. Ooh, there's barracuda galore just flying out of the water though. So famous surfing spot that we're gonna turn into not so famous fishing spot. And that is the weather.
Okay, you guys, we just rolled into Todos Santos. It's the last day of 2021 and it is pouring here. Pouring. It never rains here and it's pouring. We're at Cerritos Beach. Taryn has been aching to find some waves so he can start boogie boarding again. We've been, for the most part, on the Sea of Cortez side, so there's been lots of fishing, which has been fun, but it is crazy. It poured here, oh man, for like a good 20 minutes, just non-stop. You can see the guy next to us, how the rain's pouring off of his rig right now. And guess what? I'm sitting here by myself in our RV because Taryn and Spencer are in the ocean. They have the whole beach to themselves. And if you know Cerritos Beach, it is super popular. It is packed most of the time, but yeah, as soon as the rain settled down a little bit, Taryn was like, let's go, Dad. So this kid is crazy for waves. So how was it?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was rainy and cold.
It was rainy and cold.
But hey, we did it. We had the beach all to ourselves, and then there was one more crazy gringo who came out.
Joined you?
Yeah, he's up there now.
Is he kite surfing or?
No, he's got his boogie and some fins, and
he's up.
He's got headphones in even. He's,
Wow.
He's like just ready to self
He's next level, loco. Okay.
We're just out fishing. There's so many fish. Like, fish called Jack Crevalle and Bonito, and this kid out here just catching them all. I mean, it's crazy. Sardines, you hook up. Don't know how you get them, but just hook up with sardines. This is a 3-pound Jack Crevalle. No, 6-pound Jack Crevalle, 3 kilogram. And these, I'm gonna guess, are 2 pounds. It's pretty good size.
By the time we got to Cerritos, we were ready for some quality kid play and to hook up with some other families. Seemingly out of the blue, I got a text from one of our neighbors back home that her grandkids were also at Cerritos for a month. We reached out and found them staying just down the beach at one of the condominium complexes with a pool and restaurant. Good times were had by all, and it was fun to get to know new friends we would see back home. It wasn't water play and fun and games every day. There was still chores to do. And driving around in a motorhome in Mexico isn't the most convenient way to get around. So we rented this good-looking rig for a day and took the laundry into Todos Santos and stocked our shelves with fresh veggies. Taryn and I are walking to the pharmacia. Dad's not feeling so well, so we're gonna get some albuterol for his ailing lungs. And yeah, hopefully we can just walk in and get some and walk out. One of the advantages of being in Mexico. No prescription needed. While Spencer healed up, Taryn and I spent the day in La Paz. We caught the city bus into town and then walked around the Malecón. After a little convincing, Taryn decided it would probably be a good idea to get a haircut. Here he is, looking good on the taxi ride home.
Well, it's a beautiful backyard. We have a swim pool, and we're able to pull in these doors our mobile RV. We kind of just unloaded everything at one point, and now we're kind of loading everything back in and going through our things. And what do we find here? Hey, bud. How'd you get in there? I wonder if there's an ant in there and you just follow them in and then, oops, go way out. Huh. I wonder how many of those are stowed away inside of there. To be continued.
From La Paz, we went to Cabo Pulmo to see the sea life.
Cabo Pulmo is known for its snorkeling. If you look out in the distance, you'll see white caps. That's where the reefs are. That's where the best snorkeling spots are. we had to go back to Cerritos. So we swooped down through Cabo, stopped at Costco and stocked up on food, and headed back to the beach we loved.
No.
At one point while we were at Cerritos, Taryn was in the water so much, boogie boarding and surfing, that he had rubbed the tips of his fingers raw. Thankfully, we had put in a pair of old scuba gloves, and we strapped him on, taped him on his hands, and out he went back into the water. This second time at Cerritos, we just found an amazing crew of friends. The village was in full effect. The kids got along. Everybody was stoked to be in the water. They looked out for each other. It was a blast.
Well, not your typical camp scene, but today, Kid Posse is strong. Lots and lots of kids, which is cool.
When they weren't playing in the ocean together, the kids were making all sorts of new discoveries. Koa showed up one day with these magnetic balls, and he noticed when he put them down near the sand that they would attract the black particles of sand and leave the lighter colored ones. And so he'd spread out all the black particles that he had gathered onto a piece of wood, and he'd clean them all up. I wanted to get in on the fun, so I invited two of my friends to go with me to check out these really cool geodesic domes that were built down the beach. Here's our journey.
Tiger, why do you think that remember the movie where almost half of the reef died?
Oh my gosh.
Remember that? And then it's because all of the reef sharks.
Bye, Pelican. We'll see you on the way back.
And we'll take its beak out.
All right, let's make our way to the domes. They're up here. Okay, so we're walking up to these super cool handmade dome structures, and they're made out of sticks, and I brought my friends with me to explore them with me.
Look at zebra walks. What? Look at zebra walks.
Whoa, they are finding all sorts of treasures. Whoa, a zebra rock. We found some plastic. We found these cool remnants of a plant of some sort. Let me see yours, Tyga. Your other plant. Oh yeah, those are so cool. Some cool sticks. We've seen a
Look
lot
at my one.
of bird tracks, right? We saw a dead pelican. We saw a piece of coral. It's been a super exciting adventure. Now we're gonna go into these domes.
Look at these. They look like baby bananas.
Baby bananas. Oh, they do. Look at that.
And these are baby bananas.
All right, so there's two of these domes over here. And we were so lucky to meet the man who made them. He's a Broadway actor, clearly a maker, and he was inspired by Buckminster Fuller's dome work, and so he kind of talked about how he made them. And if you can see from the base, there's big long sticks that make these triangles that interweave. And after you have the triangle base, he would tie the points of the triangle on the base and then continue to build around and then create more triangles all the way up. But these are right on Cerritos Beach. As lore goes, he won this property in a cribbage match. I don't know if that's true, but I like the story. Whoa, what did you find?
This pink rubber roll.
Whoa, it's beautiful.
Arwa, you should have put it back because I know whose it is. I know I'm going to put it back.
So we're inside this big dome right now. What do you guys think? What does it feel like to be inside the dome?
To be in a jail.
You feel like you're in a jail? I feel like I'm in an upside down bird's nest. Look at this. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. I also love the idea that instead of putting fences around his property, he built these spaces for people to enjoy and invite people into the space instead of trying to keep people out. Kind of putting into question private property and communal property and sharing of space. And I always love that kind of thought. I'm really grateful for him for doing this. Clearly, he's passionate about these domes. So you want to go to the little dome? Oh, look at this. I think that this is for kids because he put this crossbar right there, which makes it really hard for big people like me to get in. So I'm just gonna hang out. So maybe this one is for kids and animals to hang out in. There's no rocks. It's kind of a baby one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, the play that we went to, it looks exactly like this, and this building is his.
Yep, it is. So we got to go to, Tyga's talking about we got to go to a play.
You remember that play that we went to with Bobby?
Yeah, Bobby.
And you guys went, and that guy was playing that play?
Yeah, there's a man and a woman, and they did a version of the...
And they were like, I wish you could come or something.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, like the Nectarine song.
Oh, you remember the Nectarine song?
Did I go? No.
It was last week. We went to a play. It was a rendition of the Prophet, right?
The Nectarine song.
And his ship came in, right? And
this is the dome of his Nectarine song.
The dome of his Nectarine song, yeah. You remember the story? The ship was coming in and the people were going to miss him, right? And they asked him for his thoughts on all these different things like love and marriage and joy and pain and all these different housing and talking and listening, all these different things that are so important to us. And so he told them what his thoughts were before he left.
So quiet.
What was that?
I had to be so quiet.
Oh, you had to be quiet for like an hour. He did great.
One of my favorite memories at Cerritos was having fires. But then slowly, one by one, people started to leave.
Leaving Cerritos was one of the hardest things. Saying goodbye to the village, moving on. We headed back to Loreto, and we decided this time to do some slot canyoneering. We found a guide in town and headed up to the slot canyons.
From Loreto, we decided to head back up to the Bay of Conception. Here we are at Santispek. We got bored of Santispek, so we decided to go back to our favorite beach, El Coyote.
We lucked out and parked next to an awesome family from Tijuana.
Mexican bingo.
We noticed this orange stuff on the edge of the shoreline and weren't sure what it was, but later that night we figured it out. Bioluminescence.
From El Coyote, we headed north to Mulegé.
Upon a recommendation from some of the Canadian snowbirds, I had a filling replaced while we were in Mulegé. I was able to get in the same day. Took 15 minutes. It was $25. Yay for Mexican dentistry.
From Mulegé, we headed to Siete Hermanas.
I'm sitting in the driver's seat of the RV. The wind is blowing hard enough that it's shaking the RV. We are in Santa Rosalita on the Pacific side. This sweet little beach. The ocean's pretty flat, as you can see. And all Taryn has wanted to do all day is get in the water. So here we are. The sun is set. I am making a fabulous cuisine of stuffing that we didn't have for Thanksgiving, and mashed potatoes and chicken. We're trying to use up all of our veggies and meats and basically non-storage pantry foods before we cross the border in a couple days. So creative cuisine. Anyway, just wanted to document how water crazy these boys are. How was it, you guys?
My hands don't work.
Uh-oh.
We had two.
Wait, how did my things get down?
We had 2-hour sets.
Yeah? You ready for a hot shower? Okay. The next morning, we woke up to sunny skies and the wind calmed a little. Taryn did his math lesson inside the RV with paper and pencil and with his hand, and then we moved outside and did English. He wrote his answers with his toes in the sand with the waves at his back. The changing of the water levels at the tides, high tide and low tide, was one of the most dramatic things at Santa Rosalita. When the tide would come up, you could see the bubbling of the clams below the surface. It was almost like the water was boiling. We left Santa Rosalita early and had planned to drive to San Felipe to stay for the night. We stopped along the way to have breakfast, and I couldn't help but take myself for a walk along the dirt road and check out the interesting plant life. We stopped in San Felipe for a driving break and to have lunch around noontime. And Spencer had the ambitious idea of pressing on and crossing the border that day instead of staying there for the night. We would cross around 5 o'clock that evening, a Sunday. The wait times were projected to be around 30 minutes to an hour, which is a breeze compared to trying to cross at other times during the week. So we decided to go for it.